Well, it has officially been 1 month since the release of Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, and let me tell you, it has been so much fun. Whether that's from the Mii creation, island customization, or the custom items, the whole game is just incredible. Now I know what you're thinking, didn't I already review this game in my past video? Well, yes, I did, but I didn't give it enough time, and honestly, this game deserves a whole review of its own. So let's get this review started by what might be the most important part of the game, the Miis. Miis have been a staple since the Wii era. Over time though, they've been slowly phased out. During the Wii days, they were everywhere. Then on the Wii U, they were still around, but Nintendo didn't really do much with them. And by the time the Switch rolled around, they were basically tucked away in the system settings. Honestly, I had accepted it. If Miis were on the way out, then they had a good run. Then Tomodachi Life happened. I think that there's a very clear difference between the Miis sitting in Mii Maker and the Miis living on your island, and this is why the game feels so impactful to me. Now look, if you've played Tomodachi Life before, you've probably added your fair share of weird characters. When I played on my 3DS, I literally added anyone I could think of. Toad, that one ninja face. It was a weird time. I have video proof. Here it is. Yeah, 2016 was a weird time. When Tomodachi Life Living the Dream got announced, I started making a list of Miis that I wanted to add, like everyone else. But when the game eventually came out, I didn't do any of that. I just started adding real people. Myself, my friends, my coworkers, and honestly, I was fine with that. I got genuine joy out of that. Now look, life sims aren't exactly new, but most of them ask you to manage 100 different systems at once. Tomodachi Life doesn't. It just asks you to show up for your people. That's it. I've never been a huge fan of games like The Sims because they always felt a little too overwhelming for me. There's building houses, managing schedules, figuring out which DLC is actually worth buying. Animal Crossing is great too, but at the end of the day, the game is mostly about the island, and Tomodachi Life is about the people living on it. And you may tell me, oh, but Living the Dream is also about an island. It expands itself, sure, but it never loses sight of the core idea, which is about the people. And I think part of the reason it resonates with me now more than ever is because I've changed since the original game. I've met more people, I've made more friends, and honestly, I've grown up a lot. There's something so comforting about seeing people you care about interact with each other. At a time when everyone and everything feels so spread out and busy, Tomodachi Life becomes this weird little place of familiarity and nostalgia. It's funny watching the drama and chaos unfold, but it's also a little bittersweet seeing a friend that you haven't seen in years because they moved across the country. And the best part is how little effort it asks from you. I don't need to grind every day, I don't need to time travel, I don't need to constantly chase the next unlock. I can just create someone and watch their story develop naturally. That's why I enjoy Living the Dream more than the original. Nobody's crammed into an apartment building anymore. This time, the community actually feels alive. From then on, Tomodachi Life became a part of my morning routine. I'd make my coffee, open the game, buy food for my Miis, check the clothing stores, and make sure everyone was taken care of. Even something as simple as feeding them never got old. Every Mii reacts differently to different foods, and those little reactions give each character so much personality. The same goes for clothing and gifts. The island itself has become just as fun. Technically, you don't have to do much with it if you don't want to. You could expand the island and stop there, but honestly, what's the fun in that? Hello everyone, and welcome. Today we are going to be playing Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, but not really. I'm just going to be touring my island around. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a look into my life. You know, I'm not the most public person out there, but here we have a little Central Park kind of deal. I love the mix of suburbia, wildlife, and everything like that. Big parks in the middle, you know. Like I said, I love nature. Let's go on to the next smaller park. This one's for the kiddos, as you can tell, with this rainbow floater thingy. Here we have these, what are these called? I forgot. As you know, very eco-friendly, move forward, not backward. Here we have wind turbines. Now, I have them all in the corner here. Here we have a market plaza. You have Fresh Kingdom Food Mart, Wear and Wear clothing, a little me wheel, and the news station. I just kind of wanted to make it, you know, like a lot of people in their islands, they want it to be like residence and stores. You want it all separated. Now look, I have my thoughts on capitalism, but I like mixing them, okay? They're not exactly mixed either, you know, it's kind of on the outskirts, so I think it's fine. Yeah, I'm fighting with lean. Shoot, hold on guys, I gotta resolve this. This is like a residential neighborhood, so it says warning, if you're not a resident, get the heck out of here. And if you thought one fence wasn't enough, we have two fences here. We have a steel fence, you know, pokey at the top, don't try to hop over it. Here's my house that everyone's just like hanging out at without my permission, but have a nice little front yard, you know, sprinklers, have this little duck thing. I don't know. Moving aside, this is the final thing I'm going to show you all. I know, it's incredibly sad, but little cherry blossom area, as you can tell. Nice little spring things. This is beach homes as well, you know, some umbrellas. And that's about it. So if you did enjoy this video, please comment, smash a like, and subscribe. The best part of the game is that it lets you start creating almost immediately. Sure, you'll unlock more materials later, but the tools for creativity are there from the beginning. I constantly tell myself I'm only going to make one small adjustment, and somehow I end up redesigning half of the island. That's why I love living the dream. Everything feels relaxed. This game gives you tools, ideas, and freedom, but it rarely pressures you into doing anything. You're not stuck in a tutorial waiting for permission to play. You're simply given a space and allowed to make it your own. And don't even get me started with the custom items. If you get bored with what you have, you can just make whatever you want, something the 3DS version never had. I'm not an artist. I mean, I drew my profile picture and banner, and as you can tell, I'm not good at it. But the funny thing is that's kind of the point. The sloppiness is part of the charm. Tomodachi Life has always embraced feeling a little cheap, a little weird, and a little awkward. Even the soundtrack sounds like it was put together by toy instruments. Your creations should feel the same way. That's what makes them unique. Now, let's talk about the game a month after release. As you level up your Miis, they give you little yellow orbs called fuzzies. You can toss these into the fountain to level up the island and unlock rewards. From early on, this system is incredibly satisfying. There always seemed to be something new to work toward, whether that's with activities, interiors, flights, or customization options. But after a month of playing, I've basically unlocked everything. At this point, the only major reward left is sending Miis on flights, which usually only happens if someone is sad or upset. To be fair, this game is seasonal. Summer just started and that brought a bunch of new decorations, but once I grabbed those, I found myself running into the same problem again. And look, I don't necessarily mind running out of rewards. There are still food items to discover and plenty of things I haven't collected yet. The issue though is that once your Miis reach a certain level, there aren't many meaningful rewards left to give them. Ironically, the Mii progression system is one of the game's strongest features early on. You give your Miis personality traits that resemble their real self, but it's also where the game feels weakest in the long term. Once you level them up a certain amount, there's nothing else to give them aside from catchphrases or pocket change, and giving them anything more than what they do have does not make them feel like their real selves. That said though, I still find myself opening it every day. I still enjoy expanding the island, I still enjoy making custom items, and honestly, I think making more Miis would create even more stories and interactions. So while the progression eventually does slow down, the game hasn't lost its charm. And now for my final thoughts. Tomodachi Life came out in 2014, with Living the Dream coming out nearly a decade after. So was the wait worth it? Well, I think so. Nintendo could have just brought back the apartment complex and some more items and called it a day, but instead they went back into the game, adding stuff that you can actually interact with. It's not perfect. I do think after a month or so, the game does start to slow down a little bit. But then again, the game still brings me back in with island customization, talking to the Miis daily, and that says more than any feature list ever could. Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, succeeds because it doesn't demand all of your attention. It doesn't ask you to grind for hours for the next unlock. It just asks you to care about the little people that you've put on your island. And for me, that's more than enough. Well everyone, those are my thoughts on Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream. Please do let me know if you enjoyed the video, and I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who watched my past one, because when I posted it, I only expected around 5 views or 10, instead 5,000, which is just insane. So thank you so much, and if you did like this video, please feel free to subscribe and leave a like. Alright, thank you so much.